It's Sunday night in February. For 100 million Americans, this is the Super Bowl. It's the climax of the season, the battle for the Lombardi Trophy. It's guacamole. It's a cultural event. But for a very specific subset of the population, it's just another Sunday. While the rest of the world is glued to a screen, they are blissfully doing something else. Why is that? Is there something wrong with them? Are they broken? Or do they simply possess a psychological framework that the rest of us are missing? Today, we are diving deep into the psychology of the Super Bowl passivist. The person who not only doesn't watch the game, but genuinely does not care. To understand why someone doesn't care about the Super Bowl, we first have to understand why the rest of us do care so much. From a psychological standpoint, sports fandom is a form of tribalism. It's the modern-day equivalent of belonging to a hunter-gatherer clan. When your team wins, your brain releases testosterone and oxytocin. You literally feel a chemical high from a victory you had no physical part in. It's called basking in reflected glory, or burging. But for the non-fan, this tribal instinct is either dormant or directed elsewhere. They haven't formed that parasocial bond with the athletes or the franchise. For them, watching a game isn't a thrilling us versus them battle, it's just watching millionaires run around on grass. The non-fan looks at the screen and sees strangers. They lack the psychological ownership of the team. Without that identity stake, the entire event loses its emotional gravity. It's like trying to get invested in a game of chess between two people you've never met. You can appreciate the skill, but you won't be jumping off your couch when one of them yells, "Checkmate." Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's not just a game. It's the commercials. It's the halftime show. It's the culture. If you don't like football, you're often told, "Oh, but you watch it for the commercials," or "You watch it for the memes." But here's the psychology of the person who still says no. This often comes down to a personality trait psychologists might associate with high authenticity, or a low tolerance for what is perceived as forced fun. The Super Bowl is the ultimate example of social proof. The idea that if everyone else is doing it, it must be enjoyable. But people who don't care often have a higher need for autonomy. They resent the idea that their Sunday night has been pre-scripted by corporate America and the NFL. When you say, "You have to watch it for the commercials," the non-fan hears, "You have to watch advertisements for products you don't need." They see the halftime show not as a cultural moment, but as a highly produced, lip-synced spectacle devoid of the rawness of a real concert. For these individuals, spending 4 hours doing something they actively don't enjoy, just to participate in a collective experience, feels inauthentic. They would rather have a boring night that is truly theirs than a fun night that is dictated by the masses. Let's get sensory for a moment. The Super Bowl is a sensory assault. It is designed to be. The explosions, the blaring music, the constant motion, for a certain type of brain, particularly those prone to introversion, high sensitivity, or sensory processing sensitivity, this isn't fun, it's exhausting. While the extroverted sports fan is drinking in the stimulation to get an adrenaline rush, the non-fan is experiencing what's called sensory overload. Psychologist Elaine Aron's research on highly sensitive persons suggests that about 15 to 20% of the population processes stimuli more deeply. Loud noises are louder, bright lights are brighter. For them, the idea of sitting in a packed sports bar or even a loud living room with the TV at max volume sounds like a form of mild torture. They aren't being snobby, they are self-preserving. They know that environment will drain their battery for the next 3 days. They prefer the boring Sunday because boring is actually just calm, and calm is where they recharge. There's also a more logical, rational side to this. Psychologists talk about opportunity cost. For a hardcore fan, spending 4 hours watching the game is a gain. For a non-fan, spending 4 hours watching the game is a loss. It's 4 hours they will never get back. The non-fan looks at a 4-hour broadcast and does a quick mental calculation. I could watch 3 episodes of that show I like. I could finish my book. I could fix that squeaky door. I could get a head start on work so Monday isn't miserable. To them, the Super Bowl isn't entertainment. It's a massive time sink with zero payoff. They don't get the dopamine hit from the game, so the cost/benefit analysis fails. The FOMO, or fear of missing out, that drives everyone else to tune in is replaced by JOMO, the joy of missing out. So, are these people missing out? Or are they onto something? The truth is, the psychology of the Super Bowl non-fan isn't about hating fun. It's about different wiring. It's about a brain that derives meaning from different sources. It's the person whose tribalism is tied to their book club or their D&D group, not a football team. It's the person who values authenticity over social proof. It's the person whose nervous system craves calm over chaos. And it's the person who values their time more than the cultural current. So, if you're a hardcore fan and your friend bails on your party this Sunday, don't assume they are antisocial or boring. They might just be psychologically optimized for a different kind of Sunday. Either that, or they really, really hate the commercials. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that subscribe button. We publish new psychology deep dives every week, and let me know in the comments. Are you watching the Super Bowl? Or are you the person reading a book in the other room? See you next time.